Hello dear students, myself Mrs. Rajeshri S. Naik, BYK College of Commerce Nasik, welcomes you on our online lecture series arranged by Gokhale Education Society Nasik. Today we are going to start with the first online lecture on chapter 1, Introduction to Microeconomics and Macroeconomics. Content of today's presentation is meaning and definition of economics, introduction to economics, meaning of microeconomics, definitions of microeconomics, and scope of microeconomics. Students, you have already studied in class 11 the meaning and definition of economics given by different economists. Just a quick recall. What is economics? Economics is a social science. The origin of the term economics lies in Greek word oikonomia, which means management of the household. Economics is referred to as Queen of Social Science by Paul Samuelson. Economics deals with the economic aspect of human behavior. It deals with how human beings satisfy unlimited wants with limited means. Here, economic aspect means income level of the human being, and limited means limited resources. In the third point, what we learn? What economics teaches us? The simple answer is resources are limited, wants are unlimited, and we have to deal with them successfully and identify which wants are necessary, which can give us satisfaction, which can give us happiness. If we are successful in dealing with such situation, then we will get maximum satisfaction. For example, suppose you have a sum of rupees 5,000 given by your parents as a birthday gift. And now, suppose you want to spend the money on giving the party to your friends, buying new clothes, want to purchase a new mobile and a bike. Now, yeah, this is the scenario. Means you have limited means income, and your wants are unlimited. And if you want to gain maximum satisfaction, then you will have to choose, or you will have to give your priority to the needs. That is, with the limited means, you can give a party to your friends, and as well as you can buy clothes. And most important, you can gain maximum satisfaction. Introduction part. Branches of economics. Microeconomics and macroeconomics are the two main branches of modern economics. The term micro is derived from the Greek word micros, which means small or a millionth part. See the spelling very carefully. Micros, M-I-K-R-O-S, not M-I-C-R-O-S. So again, I repeat, the term micro is derived from the Greek word micros, which means small or a million part. The term macro is derived from the Greek word macros, which means large. These terms were coined by Norwegian economist Ragnar Frisch of Oslo University in 1933. Meaning of microeconomics. Microeconomics is concerned with microscopic study of the economy. It gives a detailed analysis of one part of the economy or society. It studies the economic behavior of individual units of the economy, such as households, firms, industries, and markets. Microeconomics is concerned with the study of behavior of individual elements of an economy. The gist of all these points, all these 4 points is micro means a small part of a thing. Microeconomics thus deals with a small part of the national economy. It studies the economic actions and behavior of individual units such as individual consumer, individual producer, or a firm, the price of the particular commodity or a factor, etc. In short, we can say microeconomic studies at individual level only. Definitions of microeconomics. You have already studied some important definitions of microeconomics. Let us review some more definitions. According to Maurice Dobb, microeconomics is in fact a microscopic study of the economy. Now, what do you mean by microscopic? A keen or a detailed study of the economy. According to Professor A.P. Lerner, microeconomics consists of looking at the economy through a microscope, as it were, to see how the million of cells in the body of economy, the individuals or households as consumers and individuals or the firms as producers, they play their part in the working of the whole economic organism. In microeconomic theory, we discuss how the various cells of economic organism. Now see, the individuals or the consumers or the producers, they are known as the cells in the body of economy. So thousands of consumers, thousands of producers, thousands of firms, thousands of workers and resource suppliers in the economy, they do their economic activities and reach their equilibrium state. Now, scope of microeconomics. What do you mean by scope? Scope means the extent of the area or subject matter that something deals with or to which is relevant, means range of view. See the scope of microeconomics, see the flow chart. Three parts are there: theory of product pricing, theory of factor pricing, and theory of economic welfare. In again, theory of product pricing, two parts are there: demand analysis and supply analysis. Theory of factor pricing, rent, wages, interest and profit. Theory of economic welfare, efficiency in production, efficiency in consumption and overall economic efficiency. So theory of product pricing. The theory of product pricing studies how the price of a particular product is determined, or the prices of the products depends upon forces of demand and supply. So demand and supply are known as market forces. See the diagram. Red one is the demand curve, which slope downwards from left to right. And blue one is the supply curve, which slopes upward from left to right. And the point where both the curve intersects each other, that point is known as equilibrium price. Now the demand for goods depends upon the behavior of the consumer. Now here behavior means what? Response given by the consumer toward the demand. And that response is depends upon income level or the price of the goods and services, price of the commodity, taste, habit, preferences, etc. Means all the determinants of demand. And the supply of goods depends upon the behavior of the firm, of the organizer, of the seller. Now, the behavior or the response, it depends upon conditions of production and cost. Now, what do you mean by the condition of production? Raw materials are available or not? Capital is available or not? What is investment level of that particular company? Whether the skilled laborers are there or not? So all these conditions are known as the conditions of production, and most important is cost of production. The demand and the supply positions are analyzed to determine the product prices. Theory of factor pricing. For the production process, we required 4 factors of production. These 4 factors of production are integral part of each and every production process, or we can say they are inseparable part of each and every production process. They are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. For their efforts, for their service in production, they get reward, they get factor payment in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit respectively. Again, see, 4 factors of productions are there: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And the factor reward or remuneration or factor payment are known as rent for land, wages for labor, interest of capital, and profit for the entrepreneur. Microeconomics helps in determining the factor reward for the factors of production, and the factor reward are also known as factor pricing. Now, theory of economic welfare. In economic welfare, efficiency in production, efficiency in consumption, and overall economic efficiency. But before that, what do you mean by economic welfare? Economic welfare means well-being of the economy. All of you know that there are 3 types of resources are there. First is natural resources, second is capital resources, and third is human resources. Natural resources which are available in nature. Capital resources, the equipments which are used in production process is known as capital resources. And human resources in the form of worker, in the form of manpower is known as human resources. Now, what do you mean by allocation of resources? Allocation of resources means best use of resources or optimum use of available resources. We should neither waste the resources or not underutilize it. Efficient allocation of resources results in maximization of satisfaction of the people. So, economic efficiency involves 3 efficiencies: efficiency in production, efficiency in consumption, and overall economic efficiency. Now, the first one, efficiency in production. Efficiency in production means producing maximum possible amount of goods and services from the given amount of resources. In a simple manner, we can say that maximum amount of goods and services are produced with the help of available amount of resources, with the help of optimum use of resources, with the help of best use of resources. Then efficiency in consumption. Efficiency in consumption means distribution of produced goods and services among the people for the consumption in such a way that to maximize total satisfaction of the society. Again, see, what do you mean by efficiency in consumption? That the goods and services which are produced in an economy, that goods and services are distributed among the consumers, and when the people can get that goods and services, then 100% there is the maximum total satisfaction of the society. So in production, the goods and services which are produced with help of amount of resources, with amount of available resources, and consumption, that goods and services are distributed among the consumers, then they can gain maximum satisfaction, or the society can gain maximum satisfaction. The third one is overall economic efficiency. Now, overall economic efficiency is the summary or the combination of efficiency in production and efficiency in consumption. It means the production of those goods which are most desired by the people. Now, the production of those goods means what again? The amount of goods and services which are produced with the help of resources, and most desired by the people means what? That goods and services which are distributed among the consumer, which are demanded by them, and then there is a maximization of total satisfaction of the society. So microeconomic theory shows under what condition these efficiencies are achieved. Thus, the focus of microeconomics is mainly confined to price theory and resource allocation. To price theory means what? Determination of prices of the goods and services, and determination of factor pricing. It does not study the aggregates relating to the whole economy. It studies only at individual level. This approach does not study national economic problems, or we can say nationwide economic problems such as unemployment, poverty, inequality of income, etc. Means these problems are not studied in microeconomics, because microeconomics studies only at individual level only. So theory of growth, theory of business cycle, monetary policies, fiscal policies are beyond the limits of microeconomics. Means all the nationwide problems are studied in macroeconomics, not the microeconomics. See this motivating picture, which gives you the smart idea of learning. Don't carry the burden of examination, study smartly. This is the end of first lecture. Thanking you.